Thanks for staying with us. Today, we're looking at a topic that affects more people than you might think. Healing from toxic relationships is our topic. Whether it's a partner, friend, or even a family member, toxic dynamics can leave people with deep emotional wounds. We're going to look at how to reclaim your peace, rebuild self-worth, and move forward with strength after such relationships. Joining us for this conversation is transformational coach and MBIT trainer and master coach, president of the International Coaching Federation, ICF Ghana chapter, Scofrey Nana Yao Yeboah. Scofrey, good morning, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Sarike. It's humbling to with you from other part of the places we are doing things.
Right. So the last time we had a conversation about toxic relationships, so we want to start by rehashing it for our viewers who did not really join that one. So how do you tell someone is in a toxic relationship, especially when it's not obvious?
Thank you very much, Alikem. Toxicity in relationships are one of the dear areas of my interest because toxic relationship does not only affect the psychology of the individual, does not only affect the emotionality of the individual, it also affects the neurology of the individual. The reason why we say it affects the neurology of the individual is basically that it sets the individual on the edge of always being in survival state, and which others will call fight or flight or freeze. Mostly freeze is actually the shutdown, and this goes even to be able to transfer it to your generations unborn by through your genes or the fact that you give birth to that child. Your survival of toxicity does not affect you alone. It actually can be passed on onto children that you give birth to. What makes it even more scarier is toxicity can also become an environment that, through a process which we call epigenetics, if you take the word into two, epi, above, genetics, genes. So above the genes, meaning the environment has got the propensity to affect your genes, even when you go into spaces or you dwell or live with people whom we would deem carrying toxicity. Last time we tried to separate it that there is the personality disorders, which we call the dark tetrad, the sadist, psychopath, the sociopath, the Machiavellian, and the most popular one people confuse with all the rest of the three, narcissism. Those are personality disorders. We have other personality disorders such as bipolar, dual personality. All those are there, and when you dwell with these people, you would definitely experience toxic relationship. Then we have the other side of it. For example, you are asking, how do you know?
Yes.
So the last time we did not discuss it, but let me bring it to the word, how do we know? That friend whom you are the only one always doing the calling is a toxic relationship. That friend, that relationship, where you are the only one always doing the giving and they are doing the taking, is a toxic relationship. That enclave where you are always talked down and your voice is not allowed to be heard is toxicity. That family you live in where two of your siblings are always used to spite you is a toxic family. In the family where mommy and daddy have got their preferences and one of them just lives between, is a toxic family. In the office, anytime you're due for appreciation, that colleague will definitely find something that didn't work about you, even when others are applauding you. That is a toxic colleague. That boss who takes glory for every good thing that you do, your report and everything. He takes the glory for it. That is a toxic boss. That boss or colleague, when something goes wrong, you can be blamed. But when it is a good thing and it is due you, you cannot take it. That is a toxic relationship. So toxicity is not only peculiar to even just a romantic relationship, which mostly that is where we quickly push all the scenarios to. You are a circle of friends, 2 or 3. Anytime it is your time to receive care and attention, there is one person among your friends who will downplay. Oh, you. She says she's sick. She's not sick, Bia. Oh, suddenly, oh, my tummy is running. Suddenly, I need to have this done. Suddenly, or anytime that it is your turn to be acknowledged, one of your friends want to stampede it. That is toxic environment you are in. So toxicity cuts through every fiber. I recently had an encounter where in a church, anytime this preacher preaches, there is somebody in the leadership who wants to audit the preaching of the preacher. Yet when it is the time for him or her to also deliver, nobody should give feedback because she knows it all or he knows it all. That is toxicity. People who will create segment, oh, this group of people, that group of, it is toxicity. Until we're able to bring it to the minimum barest term, then we wouldn't be able to know how to even heal from it. And on this regard, it is my passion and my purpose that people get to understand that relationship only does not affect your psychology, your emotions. It actually affects your neurology. It can affect your biochemistry. You can give birth to children. I think the last time I mentioned that
Yes.
there is what we call the broken heart syndrome, where the heart can be tracked that your heart was broken. There will be markings on the heart, the pathways. People, it can be identified under screening. That should just give you an insight into the far deeper, most negative impact of toxic relationship on an individual.
Now, the question is, why do people often stay in these toxic and unhealthy relationships, even though they know there's something wrong?
It is one of the sad moments if you are a professional like some of us. That is why I love coaching and I don't like the other type, especially advisory. You want to advise somebody into something or stuff. We all grow up carrying some traces and tracks of trauma. Whether we are aware or we are not aware, we all grow up carrying some traces of some trauma. So a lot of the time we become endeared to by this toxic. So it's just like because they can sense inadequacies in us, we become subject to what they want to perpetuate. And when you carry some of traces of trauma, there is a lot of inadequacy. There is a lot of imposter syndromes. There is a lot of I am not good enough. There is a lot of if I leave, whom would I find again? There is a lot of lack of financial muscle to even exit. There is a lot of lack. You see, when you go through toxic relationship, it is actually also a programming. It is a mind programming you are going through. That is how come when you find somebody going through toxicity, they are even the first people to defend the perpetrators of the toxicity. They are the first to defend them. Oh, love must endure. One of the most, excuse my French, one of the most silly excuse to give to ourselves is love must endure. The misinterpretation of that phrase, that love must endure, is it's long suffering. No, anything that downplay your human dignity is an affront, disrespect to your existence. That is not love. That is enslavement. So if we are able to come to this, so because the programming that goes on to more or less makes us feel enslaved and put these people as gods. And what is so painful is that it does not happen at the conscious level. It happens at the subconscious level. Because perhaps you are looking for a father figure who was absent in your childhood. Perhaps you are looking for a mother figure who was absent in your childhood. Perhaps the love you were not given, because a lot of us don't even know what love is. We assume and pretend it. Until you come from a place where you know love is not necessarily long suffering. But love is when you can own your voice, something like assertive communication. You know you have, and you know, Selikem, it is God deposited it there, that we thrive and become better when we are in safe mode, when we feel safe around people, when we can own our voice, when you can't go naked before your spouse and you are not afraid to feel body shamed. And now you and they say they also bald head, they say pot belly. When you find safety with people, you thrive. You become the better and the finest version of yourself. The opposite is also true. When you live in survival state because of toxicity, look, some of us as coaches, we can virtually see people, or when I look at people's kids, I'm able to preempt and say, this is what is happening in their home, just by the child. So kids who bully others in school, it is the child is only manifesting what he or she cannot do to one of the parents. Or the child is manifesting one of the things that the absence of one of the parents is creating the child's life. So the reason people are not able to live is the programming is not complete, or there is no awakening. That is how come it is very dangerous to advise somebody who is going through this kind of thing, because until they come to their space of epiphany and eureka, you can't wake them up, because it is deep in their embodiment. Something else must trigger an event and moment. That is what must wake them. If they come to the acknowledgement, remember, you must be aware of what is happening, and you must have the knowledge of what is, and be able to acknowledge that this is the damage the knowledge and awareness is having on me, before such people can take action. Because until they go through this few processes I've mentioned, there is no way they can exit. And so those who sit back and say, why didn't you leave? Why did you stay there for long? You have not, funny enough, we those who speak like that to others, there are aspects of our lives that we are also stuck in that loop. But it's so easier to find the log on somebody's eye and say, no, your log is big. Perhaps yours is timber. So it takes processes. It takes different awakening. It takes an awareness. Sometimes it's the loss of job. Sometimes it's the loss of a child. I have a client. You know, this is our body. I keep saying we are emotional beings that can think, not thinking things that can explore emotions. We are emotional beings that can think. Client of mine, her emotions, immune system, autonomic nervous system, that is how I explained to her that they had given you all the signs till they shut her down. Within a space like 3 days, she has lost total weight, like something else was happening. Other people also could feel even numbness in some part of their body. They could feel the chest cavity itself hurting. They could be feeling chronic pain at the back or their shoulders. They could be feeling heaviness in their pelvics. Nothing about them. Consistently, they are dry. They are sexless. They have no feelings again. Their career there is nothing that drives them in life. There is nothing that inspires them. They begin to make petty, funny mistakes on the job. Then one day, maybe an alert that you are about losing your job, they go like, oh, wow. So it is a very difficult, delicate place to be. I've had in certain contexts preachers who don't know the severe impact of dwelling with toxic people, or human resource heads who may not have a deeper appreciation the impact, the negative impact on productivity and performance growth and development of having toxic bosses or having toxic team members. So it is not a kid's play to say, oh, I wake up and it is done.
Okay. So how do you live? And how do you end it with wisdom?
Certainly, when it comes to toxic relationship, it's not a matter of wisdom. It is a matter of choosing you first. It is because, for example, the woman who wants to exit, but there are young kids involved, or a man who wants to exit and there are young kids involved. This is the dilemma. Even if you choose you first and you want to sustain till the kids are of age, the damage effect on the kids when they get to of age, what you want to run away from, you are grooming your children to become what you want to run away from for other people's kids. The damage also is that not only your kids doing it to other people's kids, your grandchildren will inherit that biomarking or the biohacks that has occurred because of one of the parents being a toxic parent, or you dwelling with a sister or a brother or a lover who has gone through that. The moment you go into a smoke, you take part of the smoke. You smell smoke when you walk through smoke. Even when you drive through smoke, look at how it takes a long while before the smoke get out of your car. It's the same thing we are talking about. The same is a metaphor to what I'm addressing in your body.
Right.
So, we are faith people. So let me say, what does the Bible say about bitterness, rancor, jealousy? They are like a cancer of the bone, because in the bone marrow is where leukemia sits. So this is the critical. So living first is choosing you.
Okay.
2, seek professional help. In our part of the world, the moment you say you want to go and see a therapist, you want to go and see a psychiatrist, you want to go and see a clinician, you are labeled only second way. You are labeled as that. So we shy away from seeking professional help. So most I say, don't even wait. Don't wait till you are in the quagmire where it is difficult to come out. Once in a while, like you do your every year, if you can, do at least 3 sessions, either with a coach, and that one I insist. I think yesterday I wrote an article on that. A certified, professionally trained coach. You speak to a therapist, one that you can reference their background. You speak to a clinician, or what others will call psychologist. Then you can speak to a walk into any of the hospitals and ask, is there anyone here? So that you make it part of your personal development, because your emotional growth, your psychological growth, your cognitive growth all plays a critical role even in the quality of the human being you are. Then finally, please, this one to our mothers, our fathers, our pastors, our MECO leaders, our pastors' wives. Counseling alone is not enough, except if you are a certified clinician who can understand the full embodiment of the situation underway. One of the most saddest experience in my life was, there was a lady called Akuya who was killed, like the husband butchered her in the UK about 10 years ago, 7 years ago. The day I was supposed to speak with her, that was when the husband butchered. And guess what? There had been traces of pastors who had gone out about their bro once, the and this Nigerian woman who also died, the singer,
Yeah,
the
a Kweme singer, yes.
Pastor had gone in to say, don't worry, we'll pray about it. When it comes to toxicity, it is not prayer matter.
It's not about prayer.
It is not prayer matter.
So Scoffery, what if you're in a situation where you can't cut off completely from the person? Say if the person is family, can you really cut off? If the person is the father of your children, you can't really cut off. Yes, you can leave the relationship, but you can't cut off completely. You still have them. Maybe you have to meet them for children's school fees or something or whatever. You still have to be dealing with them about the children. What happens in such situations?
This is why it's important to receive professional support.
Okay.
Because the lack of knowledge in who or what you are dealing with still makes you a victim in proxy. Because they use the kids to keep on punishing you. That is what they do. They do by proxy. They cut you off from your loved ones. They have already badmouthed you to your mutuals. So at a point you are solely, not that you're even only alone, you are actually so lonely. So it is all part of the chemistry of the programming they impinge on you. But if you go to a professional support, you begin to understand and preempt their strategy. And that is what I do to support most of my clients. You got to read. You got to understand. You got to go for therapy. I will lead you. I will recommend therapists for you to go to. As I'm coaching you in your personal holistic growth and everything, go for therapy. So when you begin to understand and know what you are dealing with, if kids are in there, you are encouraged to use the law. Use the law. There is nothing wrong. Don't let anybody pressure you that and you are here and you this one and this. No. Use the law on your side. Use it to the latter. No joke. Because the law will permit what can be done, what cannot be done, space you can go, what you cannot go into. Because it is not only for even you if there are kids involved. It is also for the kids' safety. If you are not happy with what you have experienced, imagine that for your kids. And the profound thing is, this kind of people also don't like the law. That is the fact. They don't like the law. Because the moment the law steps in, then it becomes a record to become evidential that this is who they are. And that is what a lot of them don't want. Because then now it exposes them to even the friends they've played, the friends they've shown off, the friends they've portrayed. They are the best of husbands, or they are the best of wives, they are the best of fathers. All that. Use the law. I have a friend, he says that I learned that anytime I encounter my mother, for the whole week I fall sick. Listen to your body. Get to know your body. Your body speaks to you, because I keep saying, from your brainstem, the back of your neck down, you have additional 2 brains, you have a pelvic intelligence, you have autonomic nervous system. They are all on your side to give you sense and to give you feelings so you can know your body. It is mission critical that what you have not done and given to yourself first, you cannot give it to anybody. You cannot love your kids when you are loving yourself less. Or the situation of toxic parenting.
Right. What are some practical ways? Let me just, since we're running out of time, what are some practical ways to rebuild your confidence and self-worth after the damage?
I think one of the things I share when I get opportunity is, in as much as all these things have occurred, if you go through therapy, you meet a psychiatrist, you go through all that, and you have a coach on your side, God in his own wisdom, infinity, like his incredible, I say a guy, is that even at age 60 your is still able to grow over 100 neurons. Your body is still able to do what we call neurogenesis. I mean, grow new neurons. Your body is able to do what we call neurosynapse, where the brains come together to keep forming new ideas here and there. Your body is able to do that. But give yourself the permission that if you lived with a toxic relationship for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years before you could find your feet to exit, don't expect that tomorrow suddenly everything changes. No. The painful thing is, the older you become, lower neurogenesis take place, but neuroplasticity still occur for you, meaning you can still fire. One thing I want to say is, when you find the knowledge and the insight, put them into practice, because when the neurons and all those fire for you and you don't put them into practice, force them, you lose them. Then you go to relapse, you reoccur, then suddenly you think that people don't care about it and everything, because you have permission to love again. Because the power in loving comes from the place of self-loving. And we all want one point or the other also hurts people. Maybe ours may not be in loops and reoccurring, but it is still hurt, because our brain don't know the difference between small hurt or big hurt. Every hurt to your body is hurt. Funny enough, the pathway or the biochemistry or the neurochemistry in charge of pain is also the same thing in charge of pleasure. So if you are able to come from a place of releasing a lot of oxytocin through self-care, building new relationship from a place of safety,
Right.
you must shift your network that soul person is involved. If it's a church, stop. If it is a group, stop. If it is friendship, stop. Put in those boundaries so they don't serve as triggers. Where it requires co-parenting, put in legality. It is not so much about the money or something, but making sure what is due and responsible of them is done. So you don't create that flexibility like Limomo stuff, because your programming is used to that kind of apartheid way of being treated. So you can quickly relapse into it to feel that they are still your savior. So put in the right measures, build new friends, go into new spaces, begin to love yourself and focus on personal development. And like I've said, the plasticity, that is what God has given us. Even through all this turbulence, you can find that. And your heart will heal, your gut will heal, your pelvis will heal, your everything. And look, I have a client who said, I had never felt wet in my marriage. It was after she exited and began, she said, oh, I didn't even know what wet was. To be wet, I didn't even know what it was until I found me. Imagine enduring this thing and you have been denied the sweetness of all this thing, which is good for your health because of toxic relationship. Salika.
Scofrey, we'll have to leave it here. We'll certainly come back to you again for another discussion. Probably the next time we should look at self-love and its power on us. Scofrey Nanaya Oyeboah, we are grateful for your time. Have a good morning. Scofrey is a transformational coach and MBITS trainer and master coach and president of the International Coaching Federation Ghana chapter. And we've been looking at healing from toxic relationships. The key thing that came out was get help, professional help to heal from such relationships. Well, thanks so much for joining us. Right after this, we have coming up sports.